There is a voice inside you that never shouts. It waits in the space between your thoughts, in the pause before you speak, in the quiet moment before sleep arrives. Most people never hear it, not because it is silent, but because the world is so loud. You have been taught to listen outward, to seek answers in books and screens and other people's certainty. But the deepest wisdom you will ever know does not come from outside. It lives in the conversation you have been avoiding, the one with your inner spirit. This conversation is not a luxury. It is not something to save for retreats or mountaintops, or moments when life finally slows down. It is the essential dialogue that shapes every choice you make, every emotion you feel, every relationship you build. When you learn to speak with your inner spirit, you stop living on autopilot. You stop reacting to life as though you are being tossed by waves. You remember that beneath the surface, in the deep waters of your being, there is stillness. There is knowing. There is you. But here is the challenge. Your inner spirit does not speak the language of urgency. It does not send notifications. It will not interrupt your scrolling or demand your attention with flashing lights. It speaks in whispers and in feelings that arrive without words. It speaks in the tightness in your chest when something feels wrong, even if you cannot explain why. It speaks in the sudden lightness you feel when you are truly aligned with yourself. Learning to hear this voice requires something radical in a world obsessed with speed. It requires you to stop, to listen, to trust what cannot be measured or proven or shared in a caption. Take a slow breath now. Let your shoulders drop. This is where the conversation begins. Not in some future moment when you are finally calm enough or worthy enough or clear enough. Right here, right now, in this ordinary breath. Your inner spirit has been waiting for this moment, not because it is special, but because it is real. Many people speak of the inner voice as though it is a single, authoritative presence that delivers clear instructions. But the truth is more nuanced. Your inner spirit is not a dictator. It is a guide. It does not command. It suggests. It nudges. It reflects back to you what you already know but have forgotten. When you are disconnected from it, you feel lost. Not because you lack direction, but because you are drowning in too many directions. Everyone has an opinion about who you should be. Social media whispers its comparisons. Family carries its expectations. Culture writes its scripts. And somewhere beneath all that noise, your inner spirit is still there, waiting patiently, holding the truth of who you actually are. There is an old story about a monk who traveled to many temples seeking enlightenment. He studied with the most famous teachers. He memorized sacred texts. He practiced rigorous disciplines, and yet he felt empty. One day, exhausted and disillusioned, he sat beside a river. An old woman was washing clothes nearby. She looked at him and asked, "What are you searching for?" He said, "I am searching for the truth." She smiled and said, "And where do you think it is hiding?" He gestured vaguely toward the temples and mountains. She laughed gently and said, "You carry it with you everywhere. Stop searching and start listening. This is the heart of the matter. You already possess what you seek. Your inner spirit is not something you need to create or earn or discover in some distant place. It is already here. It has always been here. But you have been trained to distrust it. You have been taught that wisdom comes from experts, that clarity comes from analysis, that peace comes from control. And so you override the quiet knowing inside you. You second-guess your instincts. You dismiss your feelings. You crowd out the conversation with distractions and obligations and the endless noise of doing. The conversation with your inner spirit begins when you create space, not physical space, though that can help. Inner space, the kind that exists when you stop filling every moment with sound and activity and stimulation. It is the space you find when you sit in silence for 5 minutes without reaching for your phone. It is the space that opens when you go for a walk without earbuds, when you cook a meal without a podcast, when you simply let yourself be bored for a moment. In that space, something shifts. The chatter of the external world fades, and in the quiet, you begin to hear yourself again. But listening is only the first step. True conversation requires response. It requires you to honor what you hear, even when it is inconvenient, even when it contradicts what you have been told you should want. Your inner spirit will tell you when you are overworked, when a relationship is draining you, when a path no longer fits. It will tell you through exhaustion, through anxiety, through the hollow feeling that comes from living out of alignment. Most people ignore these signals. They push through, they numb out, they tell themselves they will deal with it later. But your inner spirit is patient. It will keep sending the same message, louder and louder, until you finally listen. Consider the way a plant grows toward light. It does not question whether it should. It does not analyze the angle or second guess its instincts. It simply grows. Your inner spirit operates with the same natural intelligence. It knows what you need. It knows when you are growing toward your own light and when you are bending yourself into shapes that do not fit. The question is whether you are willing to trust it, whether you are willing to let go of the need for external validation and follow the quiet certainty that arises from within. This is not easy. We live in a world that worships certainty, plans, and measurable outcomes. Your inner spirit does not deal in guarantees. It deals in intuition, in feeling, in the sense that something is right, even if you cannot explain it. To trust this requires courage. It requires you to disappoint people sometimes, to change your mind, to walk away from things that look good on paper but feel wrong in your soul. It requires you to value your inner peace more than you value being understood by others. Let us talk about the obstacles, the reasons the conversation gets interrupted. The first is fear. When you listen to your inner spirit, it will sometimes ask you to do things that feel risky, to speak up, to set boundaries, to let go of what is familiar. Fear will tell you that the safe choice is to ignore the voice and stay where you are. But safety is not the same as peace. You can be safe and still feel hollow. You can be secure and still feel lost. The second obstacle is doubt. Doubt says, how do I know this is my inner spirit and not just my ego or my fear disguised as intuition? This is a fair question. The difference is in the quality of the voice. Your ego is loud and demanding. It speaks in absolutes. It needs to be right. It compares you to others. Your fear is urgent and catastrophic. It predicts disaster and clings to control. But your inner spirit is calm. It is steady. It does not rush you. It simply presents truth and waits. It feels like coming home, even when the message is difficult. The third obstacle is busyness. You cannot hear your inner spirit when your life is a constant flood of input and output. When every moment is scheduled, every silence is filled, every emotion is avoided through distraction. Busyness is not just about having too much to do. It is often a defense mechanism. It keeps you from sitting with yourself, from feeling what you do not want to feel, from hearing what you do not want to hear. To have a real conversation with your inner spirit, you must be willing to stop running. Now, let us talk about practice. How do you strengthen this conversation? How do you make it a living part of your daily life? The first practice is stillness. Find a time each day, even just 5 or 10 minutes, to sit in silence. No music, no words, no agenda, just you and your breath. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them. Let your feelings arise without fixing them. In this stillness, you are creating the conditions for your inner spirit to speak. The second practice is journaling. Not the kind of journaling where you recount your day or make lists. The kind where you ask yourself a question and then write without censoring. Questions like, what do I really need right now? What am I avoiding? What would I do if I trusted myself completely? Write quickly. Do not edit. Let the words flow. You will be surprised at what emerges when you give your inner spirit permission to speak through your hand. The third practice is solitude in nature. There is something about the natural world that quiets the mental noise. Trees do not ask you to perform. Rivers do not judge your progress. When you walk in nature without a destination, you begin to sync with a different rhythm, a slower rhythm, the rhythm of your own spirit. Pay attention to how you feel, what draws your eye, what makes you pause. Your inner spirit speaks through your body's response to beauty, to stillness, to aliveness. The fourth practice is honoring your energy. Your inner spirit communicates through your energy levels. Notice what drains you and what restores you, not just in obvious ways, but in subtle ones. Notice which conversations leave you feeling heavy and which leave you feeling light. Notice which activities make time disappear in a good way and which make you feel like you are trudging through mud. Your energy is information. It is your inner spirit's way of saying yes or no. There will be moments when the conversation becomes crystal clear. Moments when you know exactly what you need to do, even if it scares you. These moments are gifts. They are the fruit of all the small practices, all the times you chose stillness over noise, all the times you honored your inner knowing over external pressure. When these moments come, act on them. Do not wait for more certainty. Do not ask for more signs. Your inner spirit has spoken. The only question is whether you will trust it enough to move. But there will also be moments of confusion, times when you listen and hear nothing, times when the answer is unclear or the path is foggy. This is also part of the conversation. Your inner spirit does not always give you the full map. Sometimes it only gives you the next step. Sometimes it asks you to walk forward without knowing the destination. This is not cruelty. This is trust building. It is teaching you that you do not need to have everything figured out to take the next right step. One of the deepest teachings of the conversation with your inner spirit is this: you are not broken. You do not need to be fixed or perfected or optimized. You need to be listened to. You need to be honored. You need to be given space to exist as you are, without constantly performing or proving or pushing. Your inner spirit knows this. It has never judged you. It has only witnessed you, held you, guided you with infinite patience. When you begin to trust this, something profound shifts. You stop seeking validation from the outside world. You stop measuring your worth by productivity or popularity or perfection. You start to live from the inside out. Your choices become clearer because they are aligned with your truth, not with borrowed ideas of success. Your relationships become healthier because you are no longer abandoning yourself to please others. Your peace deepens because you are no longer at war with who you are. This does not mean life becomes easy. It means you are no longer carrying the extra weight of pretending to be someone you are not. It means you are no longer exhausting yourself trying to meet expectations that were never yours to begin with. It means you can breathe, you can rest. You can trust that the unfolding of your life is guided by something wiser than your fear, something deeper than your ego, something truer than the stories you have been told. Take another slow breath. Notice how your body feels right now. Notice the quality of your thoughts. This is your inner spirit, present in this moment, reminding you that you are here, you are alive, you are held. The conversation is always available. It does not require you to be holy or healed or heroic. It only requires you to be willing to stop, willing to listen, willing to trust. As you move forward from this moment, carry this with you. The conversation with your inner spirit is not a destination. It is a practice. Some days it will feel clear and strong. Other days it will feel faint and uncertain. Both are okay. What matters is that you keep showing up, that you keep creating space, that you keep choosing to listen, even when the world is loud, even when the voice is quiet, even when you are afraid. You are not alone in this. Every person who has ever felt lost has had to find their way back to this conversation. Every person who has ever felt disconnected has had to remember how to listen. You are part of an ancient lineage of seekers who chose inner knowing over outer noise, who chose truth over comfort, who chose to honor the voice within even when it led them into the unknown. And here is the beautiful paradox. The more you listen to your inner spirit, the more connected you become to everything else. Because your inner spirit is not separate from the world. It is woven into the same fabric of existence that connects the trees and the stars and the rivers and every other living thing. When you listen to yourself, you are listening to life itself. When you honor your truth, you are honoring the truth that flows through all things. So let the conversation begin. Let it be messy and uncertain and imperfect. Let it unfold in whispers and pauses and moments of sudden clarity. Let it teach you that wisdom is not something you acquire from outside, but something you remember from within. Let it remind you that you have always known the way home. You just had to stop long enough to hear the directions. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. Place your hand on your heart. Feel the steady rhythm there. That is your inner spirit, beating in time with the universe, never rushing, never leaving, always here. This is the conversation, not in words, but in presence, not in answers, but in being, not in noise, but in the silence beneath the noise. You are enough. You have always been enough. And the voice inside you has always known this. May you find the courage to listen. May you find the space to hear. May you find the trust to follow. May you remember, again and again, that the deepest conversation you will ever have is not with gurus or guides or teachers outside yourself. It is with the quiet, eternal, unshakable spirit that lives within you. That spirit is you. And it has been waiting for this moment, for this breath, for this return. Today, may you find peace in the conversation with your inner spirit. May you trust what you hear. May you honor what you know. And may you walk forward with the quiet confidence that comes from listening to the voice that has guided you all along.